For more than a century, Titanic's first-class spaces have remained sealed beneath crushing pressure and total darkness. What survives here is not furniture or luxury, but structure, absence, and life adapting to ruin. As light passes through silent corridors and open voids, bioluminescent organisms trace what once existed, revealing how a maritime disaster continues to change long after it disappeared from the surface world. This is not a return to the past, but a glimpse of what endures when history sinks. Once the symbolic heart of Titanic's first class, the grand staircase no longer exists as a structure, only as a volume of absence. What remains is a vertical wound through the ship, shaped by collapse and time. Steel frames outline where elegance once rose upward, while bioluminescent life now traces the memory of movement. This space is not empty. It is filled with pressure, history, and the quiet geometry of what was lost. This hall once received passengers stepping into a world of order and refinement. Today, it is defined by tilt, fracture, and sediment. Walls lean, floors slope, and light behaves differently here. The reception hall no longer welcomes people, but it still receives time itself, collecting particles, corrosion, and living organisms that respond to every subtle change in the water. Designed for ceremony and routine, the dining saloon was a place of structure and repetition. Tables were aligned, movement followed schedules. Now, those patterns are gone. What remains is a room shaped by gravity and decay, where bioluminescent life outlines surfaces once polished by hands. The space still holds rhythm, but it belongs to the ocean now. This restaurant represented choice, privacy, and modern luxury. Its decorative surfaces have faded, but their outlines persist in corrosion and light. Curved doorways and textured walls still suggest intention. Bioluminescent organisms now trace those intentions softly, revealing how design survives not through preservation, but through transformation under deep-sea conditions. The lounge was meant for rest, conversation, and stillness. Ironically, stillness is what remains. Seating structures endure as shapes rather than objects, softened by time and pressure. In this confined space, light reflects gently and movement slows. The lounge no longer serves comfort, but it continues to contain silence, weight, and the presence of persistent life. These corridors once connected private rooms, shared spaces, and daily routines. They were designed for movement, direction, and purpose. Now they extend into darkness, defined less by destination than by distance. Doors no longer open, paths no longer lead anywhere. Bioluminescent life outlines the flow that once existed, revealing how circulation becomes memory when function disappears. The cabins were built for privacy, rest, and personal space within a moving world. Here, the scale becomes intimate. Beds collapse inward, walls lean closer. The ocean has reduced these rooms to their most basic forms. What remains is not comfort, but enclosure. In these confined volumes, light behaves differently, and life gathers quietly where human presence once lingered. This space was designed for warmth, cleanliness, and controlled movement. Water once filled this room with intention. Now, it exists as a hollow volume, shaped by cold and pressure. Smooth surfaces have softened, boundaries remain, but purpose is gone. Bioluminescent organisms drift slowly through the basin, transforming a place of activity into one of suspended stillness. This threshold marked the transition between interior life and the open sea. It was never meant to remain open. Steel frames curve outward, guiding space toward absence. Here, the ship begins to release its hold. Light disperses. Structures recede. The presence of the vessel weakens as the surrounding ocean asserts itself, reshaping the boundary between inside and beyond. At the edge of the first-class section, structure gives way to darkness. Details fade. Distance replaces form. What remains is not the ship, but the environment that outlasts it. Bioluminescent life thins, then disappears. The camera does not move forward anymore. It pauses, allowing the deep to reclaim the frame, leaving only silence and continuity. The ocean does not erase history, it absorbs it. Long after voices fade and structures fail, the deep continues its quiet work. What remains is not loss, but persistence, unseen, unchanged, and still unfolding.